It's winter, but it doesn't stop propagation here on the nursery. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that we are doing at this time of the year. Then I will take you on a tour of our propagation house to show you what varieties are in there and how they are all doing. Hello, I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening. If you enjoy our videos, please do subscribe to the channel. So at this time of the year, the things that are happening here on the nursery are there is a lot of seed that has germinated, so it's very much a pricking out time of year. And then the other thing that we have that's going on is that the big plants that are our stock plants, which are able to be divided, are being divided. So let's have a little look at the pricking out. So it depends on what number we're wanting and what we've got to use, but it's quite an easy thing. Your seedlings are looking quite good. I've got two different varieties here in this tray. I've got Silene uniflora here, and I've got a Digitalis here, and this one is ferruginea. That is a really beautiful variety. So all you're going to be doing, you can use a dibber. This plastic one is really useful. You can use an old pair of snips if you have them done up, or just hold them because the point is quite good for getting underneath there, or you can use a pencil, whatever. As long as you have got something that has got a blunt point on it, you can go underneath your seedlings, hold them firmly at the top, and then just take them out of there and then make a nice hole into the tray like so and firm them in. So you just keep on doing that, and it's actually quite a therapeutic thing to do. I've got two seedlings here next to each other, so we can just pull those apart like this. Some people ask, why are we pricking out from here? Well, sometimes when the seed is really small, it will germinate and you'll get a mass. If you try and do it into the individual cells, you get far too much in there. It's fine if you're doing something that is herbs, for instance, so that doesn't matter too much. But when you're doing plant material that's herbaceous and is going to come up and be a slightly bigger plant, you don't want to be thinning out necessarily. You can do it that way. There's absolutely no reason why not. And you can do perfectly well by doing, you know, sort of just overseeding on cells and then just literally cutting off the ones that you don't need and thinning out. It saves you having to do this process. But what it does do is it probably means that you end up with more than you require. At least when you do this, you can decide and go, oh, those are the better plants, I'll do those. So I'm just going to do a few of each of these just to show you what they would be like. These are a little bit bigger than we would normally be doing, but they've got a good root system on them there. So you just tuck it in and move them along. And then the one thing you need to remember to do is you need to remember that you we'll be labelling all of these. So now we've got a change. I could have actually gone to the Libertia and put the Libertia in between these, and then it would have been very much more obvious. See, these have got lovely root systems on them, really good. Once you've got a big enough hole, you can just tuck them all in there and they will get away quite nicely. Any root that you leave on the surface, say which is tucked out, will get air pruned. So by air pruning, that means that because the root is out to the air, it just burns off. It's not going to do any problem because where it is in the soil or in the compost here, it will then just grow more out, and it actually makes them branch out better. So a little bit of air pruning is good. That's what you see when you see all of these big trees being put into these pots which have got holes on the side. It's all to do with getting a good matrix of root on your plants and get them going. So done 6 of both of those. Then we've got this, the Libertia. This is really nice. This is quite nice and easy, but again, you can see this has put on a large amount of root here. So it's almost a little bit big for these, but we need a few more. So I will just prick out a few. And as I say, if you put the hole and you just tuck the roots in, they will get away really nicely. And you won't have a problem. So this is the thing that you're doing at the moment. You are doing all of your pricking out. These will go inside. It's far too cold outside for these to go out, so they will stay inside, be protected. Whoops, be protected in a tunnel, and then, you know, kept at plus above freezing in the tunnel that they are in. And then once they are fully rooted down, the weather has got a little bit better, they will be hardened off and put outside, well, in a cold tunnel. They'll be moved from a heated tunnel to a cold tunnel, and that is the way that it all goes. Right, I think I've done enough there. I've done 6 of each of those. You can see we've got really nice little plants in there, and then the last thing to do will be to label all of these plants. So the last thing we need to do is label all of these. On the nursery we work on week numbers, so we're on week 2, so that is my date. You can, if you haven't you're not working on week numbers, then you will put on the date, and we're in 2025. So we had some Silene, uniflorum, we had some Digitalis, ferruginea, and we had some Libertia chilensis. I think that's what it's called now. It's changed its name, chilensis. Keeps on changing its name. So those are all done. Labels will just go in down the sides. These will now get a water over the top, and then they're put onto the bench, and we will see them in the tunnel when we get there. So that is it. I'm just going to do some close-ups so you can see what I'm doing when I am putting all of these into the plugs. If you enjoy learning about gardening from me, then why not take a look at my Propagation Workshop? This is an online course, and this is all about herbaceous perennials. So you are going to learn all of the skills that are required to propagate more plants from your garden for free. For more information, please click the link in comments below. Or you can scan the QR code on the screen right now. Just showing you close up what I'm doing. So we have the seedlings here. They're all looking quite nice. You would put your dibber underneath and you would hold the plant firmly. You take any excess off, and then you make a nice hole and you put that in and you firm it in well. So this is the Silene, which is actually quite easy to do. There we go, nice big hole, firm it in, tuck in the root, and it's done. I'll just do 3 of those just for the close-up point of view. There we go. And then let's do 3 of the Digitalis again, just to show you it's all the same. Holding it firmly, you've got a nice root system, big hole, pushing in, and there we go. And then we have one of these. So this is your really nice long root system here. Top is there, you're holding it firmly like so. You are making a big hole, you're tucking in the root and firming it in. There we go, last one of that. So that's all of those. And then this one, which is the Libertia, which is a little bit more, again, this has got, look at this, lovely long roots. And again, it is just the same. It is a matter of just tucking in and firming in, and it will get away really well. Now, as I explained, if, for instance, you get in and you leave a little bit, I was trying to explain about the root. If you leave a little bit of root out, like that piece of root there, and it gets air pruned, it's almost like it gets cut off. And it's a little bit like just normal root pruning, and they will get away no problem at all. So do not worry if, when you are cutting your seedlings in like so, and a bit of root is exposed, it is not going to cause them any harm at all. So the other thing I said we're doing at this time of the year, and this is not just in the propagation, this is also on the general nursery. So part of the general nursery work at this time is also propagation. And that is that big plants like this are being split up. So we would get rid of any of the excess top growth that you don't require to start off with. Then it's a lot easier to be able to deal with what is happening down below. Now, as you can see, there was a lot of growth here, which means there's actually quite a bit in here to be able to split up and tidy. There's a little bit of weed, so you can just get rid of those little weeds that are on the top there. We'll just get rid of this. I'm just going to put it onto the floor for the time being. Just makes life a little bit easier. Now, these pots have come from outside. When we take the plants out, we would normally give these a good bang around and give them a quick brush over to get rid of any excess, and this will get rid of any weed seeds that might be stuck around the rim of the pot. Then we reuse the pots, so we're not getting brand new pots for every plant. Now, you'll see this has got lovely roots. Now, this is a Coreopsis, this is a verticillata type, and look, it's got beautiful yellow roots. And this is something that's always interesting when you take a plant out. Different plant material have different roots. Now, I'm going to use my saw for this time, so we are going to do a little bit of root pruning. So we're going to get rid of the bottom of the base of the plant like so, and then we're going to look at the plant, and it depends on how many we need on the nursery, but normally what we would do is we would cut through the center and initially just divide it into two pieces. So this one is breaking up quite nicely, as you can see. The compost is falling off brilliantly, so that makes it much easier to be able to split this up. And again, at this time you can get rid of any weed that is there. There's a little bit of growth coming through, which is great. That's really good. Lovely roots on here. Now, that is the size that will go back into that. So we have gone from one plant to two, so that one's going to go back in there, but we perhaps need a few more. So now you can see pieces will break off. That is enough to go into our next size pot, which is that. And then we will probably either, I don't know, I think we'll probably split this up a little bit more. There we go. And we have another. Aren't these roots just absolutely the most amazing colour? Really great. I love them. I think it's fantastic. Nature is just so incredible in the way that things are made. So from that one plant, these are going to go into that size, so they're correct for our 1 litre size plant. So there we go. That would be that. One plant has now become 4. So that is great. None of the rest of this we will need or anything else like that. So it's an easy way of doing it. A saw is a really useful tool because it's much easier than splitting it all up and trying to pull it all apart by hand. It's really helpful when a plant like this does then just fall out and you can then just tear it into pieces that you want. If you need to, you can trim the roots. If they are a little bit long, you can trim them. With herbaceous perennials, and with a lot of things, a little bit of root pruning does not hurt them. They really don't mind. And the old adage is that growth follows the knife. So if a root gets cut, it will then put on more side shoots, and a better branching root system is better for your plant. And also, these plants needed to get out of here. This is not the best now. This will go on the compost heap, so that can then be reutilized for other areas. But now one plant has given me 4, and the other one here, I'll just show you close up exactly what I did. Let's just show you close up what we're going to do with this Coreopsis. So we have the plant here. It's quite a big plant. We get rid of all of the top growth like so, which you don't need because that'll just get in the way. There are 1 or 2 weeds, but as we get going, they will also come out of the way because all of the compost will get out. So we will tip it out of its pot like so, and there we have a really wonderful plant. And as you can see with Coreopsis, you've got this wonderful yellow shoots which are coming through like that, but even the roots are slightly yellow as well. Now we reuse all of our pots, so we would brush round, especially down here in the rim, like so. We would brush round, get rid of anything that would be weed seed sitting into that rim like that. Give them a tap out, give them a good brush off at the base. Then we can reuse our pots. So that is very important. We do like to reuse as much as possible. Now we're going to use my trusty saw here, and we're going to take the bottom off this plant. So we're just literally getting rid of the base area here. We don't need that bit of root. The plant is going to be fine. This is all part of the splitting process, whereby you get it down to a point where you can use it. We'll just try and tidy up some of these bits at the top. There are 1 or 2 bits of weed there that we don't require, and that is absolutely fine. So then I'll just make this tidier so you can see what I'm doing. Then we look at the plant and we decide, right, okay, we're going to go through here across the middle, and we're going to split it in half to start off with. That is the key thing. We need to get it into a position where we have plant the material, so we know what we're going to do with it. We just get rid of the top bit of compost off there. We don't need that, and then we can see what is happening with the rest of the plant at the bottom there. So that is actually quite a nice piece. We don't need all of that that's there. We might just tidy up the edges slightly so that it fits into a pot, and that is going to go and be a 3-litre pot. So there's plenty of space for that to go in there, compost to go around. What we're going to do with the rest of the plant, well, let's have a little look. There's quite a lot in there. We'll probably take a piece off the side like so, and that piece then will become, it's got nice growth there, that will be a piece that can become a 1-litre pot. And then we have another piece there. This is not as big a plant as some of the others, so that would go there. So even so, I have managed to make 3 decent plants out of 1 plant, and that's what you're trying to do with propagation, is just produce more plants. And this is being done on the nursery and on the stock plants in the propagation at the moment here in January. Let's take a look at what is happening here in the Propagation House. At this time of the year in January, we are really glad that we've got a KEDA, a bubble plastic type tunnel, because this means that it will hold in whatever heat we are trying to keep in here. We have the raised benches which have got heating mats in them, so that means that a lot of the plant material's got lovely warm bottoms or roots, and then at the far end we have a gas heater and 2 circulatory fans, keeping the air movement so that we've got good air movement. That is really key at this time of the year. In front of me here we have got big plants. These are stock plants. We don't have any stock plants in the ground. They're all in containers, so they are repotted every single year, and they are split or bits taken off them if it's the right time for that. Otherwise they're just basically given a refresh, a brand new lot of compost which has got slow release fertilizer in them, so when they start to grow they get away really well and the propagators can take good cuttings of them. So there are all sorts of different material here. You'll see behind it's a very empty space. Well, in actual fact, where all these plants were was empty up until a couple of days ago, and that is because at this time of the year is also when we do a really good spring clean. So the matting is power washed down to get it really clean. It's given a J's fluid or another disinfectant, whichever we've got, and that means that we have got clean or relatively clean sterile material to be able to put the plants back down on. So that really helps, and in a propagation house that's what you're looking for. So we are spring cleaning as well as still doing the propagating, but because there isn't as much to do at this time of the year, then this is a really good time to be doing it. This is all going to be full very, very shortly. Let's have a look at what else is going on. So here we've got some beautiful little seedlings which have been pricked out. So these ones are Senolophium. There are some, what's in there? Oh, there's some physalis in there. There are some lotus here. There are some tropolium here. Some are bigger than others. That just depends on the growth rates. Some are quite small. So these are all young pricked out seedlings sitting on the bench, waiting to grow, waiting until they actually put on root right the way out the bottom of the pot here, so that then they can be moved from here and moved onto the ground. Let's take a little closer look. You can see what we've got. So it doesn't look as though there's very much in these actual trays, but when you take a view like this down at soil level, you can actually see that there are little seedlings all in here. And these are little wiry seedlings. Here we go. These are Atriplex hortensis. And then these are the other ones, all looking fabulous, looking really, really great. So these all came from the seed trays, and we'll have a little look at seed trays. The ones that were pricked out were all pricked out from plants like this, all looking really good. Lovely little seedlings. These are already waiting to be pricked out into their pots and trays. Down on the far side of the tunnel, we'll just go down here and see what's going on. So here on this propagation bench, this is a mist unit. There are lots of cuttings. These are all waiting to be moved onto the floor. They've got lovely roots coming out of the bottom of them. Our heater is over here, and there are all sorts of things on here, lots of lovely material that's coming through. And then from the cuttings, we then go to where there are seeds, and on the ground is everything else. Here we are looking at all the cutting trays right the way through, going right the way back up to more stock plants at the other end there. Some of these are being trimmed up and had their tips taken out of them. Others are much larger and fuller, so this is great. This side was the first side to be cleaned up and everything moved to here. Now the other side has been cleaned. What is on the prop bench is going to go down there onto the floor there, and then we'll start filling up the prop bench with gusto as we get more and more seedlings coming through, as we get more plant material that we can take cuttings from. I hope you've enjoyed this January tour around the propagation area. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.